The Backrooms have returned. A new found footage tape has been released, and in it we see another poor soul wandering the endless halls and deepest caverns of this liminal labyrinth. But the most terrifying thing we learn in this new video, the horrors inside the Backrooms are now in the real world, and none of us are safe. Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory, the show that's always jump-scared by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, okay.
We are so back, baby! Found footage horror mastermind Kane Pixels has returned to his Backrooms series with a new video, and it's a doozy. Believe it or not, it's been over a year since Kane uploaded his last Backrooms video, but that doesn't mean a lot hasn't happened with the franchise. Obviously, Kane had to go off and make his feature film with A24, but the actual Backrooms have also been found, like the original image that started the whole viral internet trend. Yeah, some truly dedicated internet sleuths were able to track down the original image to the website of a hobby town under renovation in Wisconsin in 2003. I mean, come on, the Backrooms would be in Wisconsin. Apparently, the building also used to be a furniture store, so the fact that it felt so weird, disjointed, and unfinished, it's because it literally was all of those things. The internet truly amazes me sometimes. But with that particular real-world mystery solved, Kane saw fit to finally come back to YouTube to give us new mysteries in his fictional world, with a brand new 45-minute upload packed with more new ideas, new spooks, and of course, new lore. Let me tell you, people were hungry for a new video and have been picking this apart frame by frame. Like so many other online, animated, or analog horror series, there's an awesome community of theorists dedicated to Kane's Backrooms series, which you can find over at the Kane Pixels Backrooms subreddit and Kane's Facility Discord server if you want to get involved. And right now, it's our turn to jump back into it too. In case you don't know, our running theory here at Theorist is that the world of the Backrooms is sort of a simulation, like a video game or the Matrix. The real world is the topmost layer of this simulated reality, while the Backrooms is the layer beneath it, full of all the unfinished assets and procedurally generated levels that didn't end up getting used. And sometimes, people from the top layer of reality slip through or no-clip into the Backrooms, where they're more or less trapped forever. I still believe that this is the direction the series is headed, but this new video, Found Footage 3, it introduces so many new ideas that support our theory and should terrify Async and the people of the real world. You see, this is no longer just a series about people falling into the Backrooms, it's also one about the monsters of the Backrooms getting out into the real world. Yeah, put on your hazmat suits, chat, we have a lot to dig through here today. Found Footage 3 follows a man named Ravi as he hears strange noises coming from the downstairs of his house. As he investigates, he finds that a window has been broken and a massive hole has been punched into the wall of his basement. He cautiously enters it, but soon falls through the floor, no-clipping into the Backrooms. Exploring the area, Ravi finds a strange, empty corporate area, incomplete homes with furnitures and stairways in odd places, a giant cityscape with skyscrapers that extend both up and down beyond what he can see, an industrial space with a lot of Chinese iconography, a makeshift radio tower, and a yellow office that looks oddly familiar. Fun fact, right here in the video, we see a recreation of the very first Backrooms image that went so viral. Notice the part of the wall at the bottom left part of the door? It's identical, so that's a fun little nod. Good job, Kane. Regardless, Ravi is chased by a mysterious new creature through these areas, a humanoid monster that sprints at him. He only barely escapes and eventually hides inside of a house where he can hear a man talking. He tries to speak to the man, and the man can hear him, and despite being in the same location, they can't see each other. The man tries to help Ravi, but fails, and, well, we're not exactly sure what happens.
Hello?
We hear a scream, a loud crash, and then nothing. Ravi then accepts that there is no escape. He sits down, crying, laughing, and giving a last monologue before he seemingly dies, though his fate is ultimately left ambiguous. And, more or less, that's the video. So first things first, it's worth noting what we don't see in this video. Namely, there's little sign of series mainstays like Async, the hazmat suits, or the traditional monochromatic yellow wallpaper. Now partially, I'm sure that this is because Kane is expanding what his version of the Backrooms is and what it can be. But I also have to wonder if A24 reserved the rights to or control over that imagery for the movie. Just to be clear, that is total speculation on my part, but it did stick out to me. And it could partially be why Kane is exploring so many other ideas, like his version of the pool rooms in Found Footage 2 and all the various environments here in Found Footage 3. It's him taking some itty-bitty inspiration from the different levels of the facility from separate Backrooms wiki lore and putting his own unique spin on it. All that being said, there were a couple very subtle hints at what Async has been up to in the Backrooms. First off, it's clear that they either found Ravi's body, or at least his camera, sometime after this video was filmed. See, this is the first of the 3 found footage videos where we don't actually know how the tape was, well, found. We see the camera from the first video no-clip back into the real world, where it was likely recovered by Async, and we believe that the second camera was sent back in time into the hands of Async bigwig Ivan Beck. But this one, well, it looks like Ravi dies in the Backrooms. Clearly someone rescued this tape, and that someone was almost certainly Async, so don't be surprised if we see some yellow hazmat guy stumble upon Ravi's body in the Backrooms movie and pick up this camera. Secondly, we see Ravi walk by a door that looks a lot like one of the gateways that Async built to wall off parts of the Backrooms. And notice what's up against this door? It's a bunch of chairs piled up in what looks like sort of a barricade. Or perhaps as if they were thrown against the door, trying to break it down. We see here in Found Footage 3 that the monsters living in the Backrooms don't really understand how to use doors.
Hello?
And literally one of the first things we see the Lifeform fellow monster do in Kane's very first Backrooms video is throw a chair. I think all of these chairs were thrown at this door, with the bacteria monsters trying to get through and into Async's headquarters, but they just couldn't manage to do it. Now, with all of that laid out, the next thing we should try to do here is answer, where does Found Footage 3 take place in the Backrooms timeline? One of our last theories on the Backrooms was trying to put things together into a cohesive, definitive timeline of events, but we run into some problems with Found Footage 3. See, unlike Kane's other videos, he hasn't put a date into the description. Thankfully, there are a lot of context clues giving us dates, but the problem being that none of those dates line up with one another. For example, the quality of this footage lines up with something you'd expect to be shot on an old camcorder, very much in line with the other content of the series, implying that it takes place in the 1990s. This is further driven home when we hear Ravi talking about overhearing Monsanto executives admitting fault in a case involving a sick kid. Monsanto is a real-world agricultural and biotechnology company, and they were involved with several lawsuits and conspiracy theories during the 1990s, most of which involved chemicals and polluting local communities. And we can further narrow this down with the radio at the beginning of the video, which mentions the Oklahoma City bombing. This was an event that took place on April 19th, 1995, meaning that this was probably recorded around the same time. But, of course, there's a wrinkle. While walking through the facility, Ravi comes across this poster in Chinese. Using Google Lens, I was able to translate this and then reverse image search it, revealing that it was a real-world poster for an annual health screening in 2022 in Arcadia, California. There's even an official English version of this same poster, which you can see here. Obviously, that's much further on the timeline than the 1990s, and it's not even the only other time frame directly referenced here. Towards the end of the video, when Ravi first encounters the disembodied voice of the man inside of the home, we hear that there's a TV playing in the background. And if you listen very closely, you can hear a distinct ad playing. I don't know about you, but that soundbite was burned into my memory thanks to watching a copious amount of television in high school. And after a quick Google search of that exact quote, I found that this was actually part of an ad for freecreditreport.com that ran between 2007 and 2009.
I was getting depressed because of all the stress I was feeling at home.
Still a banger. Now, these are definitely the same clip. Listen to them back to back.
I was getting depressed because of all the stress I was feeling at home.
That's the same sound, and it tells us that this dad that Ravi's talking to exists in the late 2000s, over a decade away from either the 1990s where Ravi's from, or 2002 where the poster originated. Now, this is not the first occurrence where we've seen time acting funky in the Backrooms. The Async employee, Peter Tinch, was thrust forward in time thanks to some glitch. We've seen an episode of The Simpsons that first aired in 1991 get interrupted by a cough medicine commercial from 2000, and a television broadcast from 2015 can be heard in the video Pitfalls all the way back in 1990, a full 25 years before. In our previous theory trying to make sense of the timeline here, we believed that there was some sort of infinite time loop going on, with a previous version of the real world falling into and being consumed by the backrooms, before a new one was created and started the cycle anew. This, in turn, was letting these different pieces from different times all show up together. But now, considering that Ravi was able to directly interact with that dad, something directly outside of his time, I believe that it's less of a time loop and more just the world of the backrooms glitching so much that different times and places on the same timeline are folding into themselves, which in and of itself is a little more terrifying. And this also still lines up with our previous theories of how and why Async became interested in exploring the backrooms, since I'm still pretty sure that the camera and found footage too from the mid-90s wound up in the hands of Async in the 1970s. You know, thanks to that same green glow found in multiple videos. Speaking of that mysterious green glow, you might have missed it, but it also shows up again here in found footage 3. Yeah, when Ravi is trying to reach out and find contact over the radio, in a blink and you miss it moment, you can see a green light shine on the ceiling, identical to what we've seen throughout the rest of the series. And after Overflow, this is now the second time where we've seen a green light associated with radios, and I think I know why. In a previous theory, we were able to connect both the device that Async used to first open the backrooms and no-clipping itself to electromagnetic waves, and wouldn't you know it, but radio waves are a type of electromagnetic wave. So, if we're still working under the idea that electromagnetism can help you no-clip in or out of the backrooms, it would make sense that radios would do the same. And the fact that they're the longest EM wave, maybe that's helping the weird timey-wimey nonsense happen in the series. But let's back up and talk about this radio tower for a second, cause this thing is weird, right? It looks like just a bunch of random audio equipment from all sorts of different eras got smushed together right here with no rhyme or reason. You have a pretty modern looking synth keyboard, an ancient looking radio, what looks like a cutting edge radio from the 80s or 90s, it's sort of a hodgepodge. But why is it all here? Did someone in the backrooms manage to find all of this and put it together in an attempt to send a message out? Well, no, I don't think so. This is a lot of stuff. It doesn't have the slick presentation of something Async would build, and I think some rando going undetected by the backrooms monsters long enough to build this is a bit of a stretch. No, instead, I think this is something that the backrooms sort of cobbled together itself. If we're still working under the assumption that the backrooms are glitchy leftover assets from building a simulation, perhaps places like this tower are just the backrooms putting stuff it thinks is related all together. Like, imagine if all of this audio equipment had the word radio or audio in a tag or in its file name. Whatever is running the backrooms likely saw that and generated it all here together, despite it not making a ton of logical sense to our human brains. In fact, I think that a computer system sort of gathering anything and everything it thinks is relevant together, despite how weird and nonsensical it would seem to a human, could explain a lot of the strange things in this video. For example, why is there a bunch of imagery related to China, ranging from a portrait of Chairman Mao to a poster for a health checkup in California, all put together? There's even a statue of Kuan Yin, the Chinese goddess of compassion, in here, seemingly unrelated to anything else. Shoutouts to Reddit user SharpCandle5429, they were the earliest person I saw identify this. Well, again, this could be the backrooms pulling in anything it sees labeled as China together, regardless of whether or not it's actually related. Same thing with the caveman cutout, the weird speaker system, and the sun paintings in the radio room, or even the Kuan Yin statue again. All of that looks like it could be art or parts of an exhibit at a museum like the Tate Modern or the Natural History Museum, labeled or categorized under museum by the system. Believe it or not, that could even fit with the monster we see in here. Yeah, this monster that chases Ravi through the area. When asked for a name for this creature, Kane called it the still life, which the community then ran with. Well, what is a still life? It's a type of artwork, a painting of inanimate objects. And isn't it interesting that a monster named after art is in a part of the backrooms where there's a lot of museum stuff gathered into one place? Oh, and just the little cherry on top here, but Kane named one of the music tracks he composed for this video Still Life, another piece of art related to this backrooms video. Also, shoutouts to Kane for being multi-talented. The music he makes for this series is like legitimately great. Speaking of the still life, let's actually touch on that, shall we? Yeah, there's a new monster in this video that seems a lot different from the lifeform fellow. It's more humanoid with traditional human proportions, and at the very least, it looks, acts, and sounds a lot like a traditional zombie. Now, I should be clear, I am certain that this is not a zombie. Kane was asked on his Discord server server if it was, and though he said it's not impossible, it's hard to tell, but I'd assume no. And I tend to agree with him here. Kane has previously expressed frustration with zombie-related media and that there was no traditional zombie infection situation happening in his Backrooms series. So why take his pretty unique take on things and shove zombies into it? No, this is something else, something new. And whether or not it's an infected person or zombie, I think matters a whole lot less than the fact that it looks like a person at all. This thing really does just look humanoid, and I believe that's for a distinct purpose. It's the Backrooms trying to mimic people. Think about this. All throughout the Backrooms series, we've seen just how the Backrooms has tried to recreate aspects of the real world. It started out with basic empty offices with yellow wallpaper, and it's since evolved into full-blown neighborhoods and even cityscapes, all of which just aren't quite right. Hallways are too thin, offices empty, signs backwards, and the sky red. This could also explain why we see a near copy of a house from the secret video Home 27647.mov in found footage 2. The Backrooms made a near perfect copy of this home, but just off. We actually see direct evidence of this in found footage 3 itself too. There's a particular moment where Ravi comes across the PlayPlace rug that everyone seemed to have growing up, just hanging out here in the Backrooms. We actually have one of these in our office here at Theorist, so that was a nice little surprise for me. That's fun. Well, slightly later in the video, Ravi comes across a strange room with small buildings, green turf, and a slide in it. I saw this and thought, wait, that looks a bit familiar. The playmat also has green turf, very rudimentary looking buildings, and what looks like a slide or a track. It also has very bright primary colors like red, blue, and yellow, which you can see on the slide in this room. It looks like the AI that runs the Backrooms basically ingested this map from this rug and tried to turn it into something real here, but just not quite getting it right. Just like it's done with other offices, neighborhoods, cities, and now humans. The Backrooms have evolved past just recreating places and inanimate objects and is now trying to replicate humans, but it just can't get it right. This isn't a real living person, it's just a still life. Thematically, this whole episode has been about slipping in and out of the walls, of the Backrooms, yes, but also of reality. Ravi finds a place where the walls are thin enough to actually talk to someone outside of the Backrooms. The dad tries to break through the wall and is basically punished for it. The whole video starts because something broke a big hole between the real world and the Backrooms. And this is perhaps best symbolized by this strange scene of something crawling out from underneath a gap in a wall. It's a bit tough to tell what this actually is. At first I thought it was something similar to the Lifeform fellow monster, but I've also seen speculation online that it's a bug like a cockroach. Either way, the fact that it's moving out from underneath this wall, it's symbolic. The walls, the barriers between what's real and what isn't are becoming thinner and thinner, and it's having an observable effect on the real world. Things are moving in and out of the Backrooms more and more, and in increasingly weird and different ways. When Ravi is talking to that dad, the dad asks him,
I don't want to be the guy who keeps coming around here trying to talk to my boys.
Someone else has been talking to this guy's kids, almost certainly through the Backrooms. We even see bloody footprints in this part of the facility, probably left by the last person that came through here and tried to talk to this family to get help. This isn't the first disembodied voice that this family has heard through their walls, and it probably isn't the first person who communicated with someone outside of the Backrooms. To someone who didn't know any better, it might feel like they're just straight up talking to a ghost, and well, what if that is what's happening? Or rather, whether someone who has had a paranormal experience like hearing a disembodied voice or seeing someone walk through a wall or someone out of time, what if that was some shenanigans caused by the Backrooms? What if it was someone no-clipping in, or someone who was trapped, or someone out of their own time period? That adds just another great layer of potential horror to this world, and I love it so much. But what's even more terrifying, it's not just things going into the Backrooms. Something from inside the Backrooms has almost certainly gotten out. At the beginning of the video, Ravi hears a noise downstairs in his house, and when he investigates, he finds that his sliding glass door has been shattered by something. This in turn leads him to discover the large hole punched in the wall of his basement. Clearly something busted through the walls here and made its way outside. Something originally from the Backrooms, like the Lifeform fellow or the Still Life, or something even worse that we haven't met yet. And we might even see it in this video. As Ravi looks for for the intruder in his closet, we see a strange chair in the corner. First off, who keeps a chair in their closet? That's already weird and very in line with the Backrooms, right? This whole series has used weird chairs in weird places to show how the Backrooms just don't quite get how real-world furniture works. If monsters like the Lifeform fellow can transform, perhaps this one is taking the form of a chair to hide, not realizing that it's a bit weird that it would be in a closet. But on top of that, it's fuzzy and black, almost as if the camera is having a difficult time even picking it up. And just listen to what happens when Ravi points the camera directly at it and then 180 degrees away from the chair.
Someone there?
There's very clearly some sort of strange buzzing sound going on when the camera's pointed directly at or away from this thing. If there's strange electromagnetism going on inside the Backrooms like we've speculated, well, could a Backrooms monster give off that same sort of radiation and interfere with electronics like a camera? Regardless, it's safe to say that things have started to escalate here. This is no longer a case of just people falling into the Backrooms, going missing, and dying in this giant endless office space. No, what's inside is now getting out. The computer system, the AI running the Backrooms, is starting to leak into reality, and now we're all in danger because of it. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Today, I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to sit down and make a definitive timeline of exactly what's happened and when, so we can get ourselves a clear overview of everything that's going on in this giant mystery that Kane's crafting. And in doing this, and seeing what fits where, and more importantly, what doesn't fit where, we'll be able to learn a lot more about this story.